The lighthouse that refused to die. The Atlantic Ocean, off the coast of Maine, has always carried secrets. Old fishermen said the sea remembers every ship it ever swallowed. For more than a century, one lonely lighthouse stood against those black waters, like a silent guard, refusing to surrender. Its name was Widow's Point. By 1962, most people believed the lighthouse should have collapsed long ago. The tower was cracked by storms, covered in salt, fin perched on razor-sharp rocks miles from shore. Yet somehow, through hurricanes and blizzards, the light continued to shine. The story began in 1884, when a former Civil War soldier named Elias Grayson became the lighthouse keeper. He was quiet, serious, and carried sadness in his eyes. Every evening, Elias climbed the narrow iron staircase, carrying oil for the giant lamp above. Ships depended on that light. One dark night could destroy dozens of lives. Then came the storm that changed everything. On October 11th, 1887, a violent nor'easter slammed the coast. Winds screamed through the cliffs. Waves rose higher than houses. Fishing boats vanished into the darkness. Yet, through the deadly storm, witnesses claimed the lighthouse beam never failed once. At sunrise, rescuers finally reached Widow's Point. The front door had been ripped away. Furniture was shattered. Seawater flooded the rooms. But Elias Grayson was gone. No body, no footprints, nothing. Only the great lamp above, still burning. Authorities believed he had been swept into the ocean, but strange stories began almost immediately. Sailors reported seeing a shadow moving inside the tower long after it was abandoned. Others claimed they heard footsteps climbing the iron stairs during storms. Then came the event that made headlines across United States. In 1939, during a deadly blizzard, a cargo ship called the Caroline May lost power near the reef. Captain Harold Bennett later said visibility had nearly disappeared. The crew believed they were moments from crashing. Then, suddenly, through the snow and darkness, they saw a lantern moving below the lighthouse. An old man stood there, waving them toward a narrow, safe passage hidden between the rocks. The captain followed the signal. Every sailor survived, but the next morning, rescuers searched the shoreline. There were no footprints in the snow. Not one. Newspapers called it the ghost keeper of Widow's Point. Tourists arrived, hoping to witness the mystery. Most laughed during daylight. Few laughed after midnight, because many reported hearing the same sound. Heavy boots, slowly climbing metal stairs inside the empty lighthouse. And during the terrible storm of 1962, the lighthouse light suddenly went dark. For the first time ever. That was when the town saw something impossible below the cliffs. A swinging lantern, and someone carrying it. To be continued. The ghost of Widow's Point. The storm of December 1962 nearly destroyed the entire coastline of Maine. Waves crushed docks. Fishing boats snapped loose from their anchors. Windows shattered across the harbor town as freezing winds screamed through the streets. And just after midnight, the light at Widow's Point suddenly went dark. For the first time in nearly 80 years, sailors could no longer see the lighthouse beam. Panic spread quickly across the water. 3 local fishermen later said their small boat had already drifted dangerously close to the reef when they spotted another light below the cliffs. Not the lighthouse, a lantern swinging slowly through the rain. One fisherman, Daniel Mercer, swore he saw an old man standing on the rocks, wearing a long black coat from another century. The stranger raised the lantern and motioned silently toward a narrow opening between the crashing waves. The captain followed. Minutes later, the boat reached safe water inside a hidden inlet. All 3 men survived. At sunrise, rescue teams searched the shoreline. There were no footprints, no lantern, no sign that anyone had stood there during the storm. But inside the lighthouse, investigators discovered something even stranger. The giant lamp had not failed naturally. Someone had carefully relit it by hand. That was impossible. The lighthouse had been officially abandoned for years, and the upper door remained locked from the inside. When workers finally forced the door open, they found fresh oil burning inside the lamp. Beside it sat an old brass lantern covered in salt water. Engraved across the handle were 2 words: Elias Grayson. News of the discovery spread across the United States within days. Reporters flooded the town. Paranormal investigators arrived, hoping to solve the mystery. None could explain how the lamp had been relit. To this day, locals claim the spirit of Elias Grayson still protects ships near Widow's Point during violent storms, and on cold winter nights, some say a lonely lantern still moves across the cliffs, guiding sailors safely home.